recording now.
Yeah, I think we lost Johnny. We were talking. I think he disappeared.
Okay, well, anyone who's just listening, welcome to IPLD. This is like our weekly update. You're probably seeing this on YouTube later because no one's actually streaming this. Welcome. This is Nicola Greco and me. So we have a few things to cover today. We had Johnny Crunch on the call earlier. I don't know if he dropped out or not by accident, but I guess let's just take it away with the notes. And if Johnny jumps back on, we'll go to his point.
Yep. Yeah.
So state of the website.
Yeah. Last week we mentioned that there were a few things left to do, and I wonder what is this. I've been following, but I wonder what is the state of that right now and how comfortable we feel like. Because it's just me and you. Let's go through the things that only were about me and you for a second. And so I read your rewriting, and I wonder if you read my comment on your rewriting.
I did. I actually read them this morning and uploaded a finished version of my comments. It's not done. I mean, the sections that you have to do are still there for you to do. I didn't keep writing. If you want, I can, or I can try. But for now, I've basically gone through and edited everything and made it a bit more coherent. I also responded to your comments.
Okay. No, I see the response to my comments. I don't know if you feel that you're done with that or not.
Yeah, I'm done. As it's now your turn to keep writing more, and then I can edit more. But for now, I feel like I'm done.
Okay, perfect. Because I want to make sure that whenever I jump on the plane, I have everything I need, because very likely I'm not going to have internet connection.
Assign it to you, unassign it to me. I'm done as far as I know.
Okay, that's brilliant. Because I remember that for the website, we were missing very few things. One was the demo from Victor. One was the content plus the example from me. And I think that was it. And some beautification steps. But unfortunately, Victor is out, and I don't blame him because it's the day before Christmas. But I
know nothing else about the state, so I did the things. I'm done.
Yeah. I haven't heard much from Victor, so I'll ping him. Because as I mentioned last week, it would be amazing if we have something to show and get feedback from the lab week. Okay. So I let's move the next point later on. So state of spec of paper is gonna happen before the 7th of January, because that's our deadline. And I think the purpose of today, in my opinion, is the okay, state of the tutorial. We discussed that. Okay, all these things were very easy. This is just a check-in, especially because I have a flight very soon, so I have to head to the airport. But I wanted to look about next year and how can we improve what we have done this year and the way we work this year for next year. And I wanted to sort of build up a wish list of things that we should bring up a lab week or in the future. So we can brainstorm together. I have some clear things that I want to bring up at the lab week, and amongst those, I want more presence from David, because he's implementing all of these things and he's going at the speed of light. And I'm gonna be more connected next semester. But I need to make sure that I have at least a weekly meeting in which David is in. Meetings. Is there something else that we want to raise? Maybe having more clear deadlines. Having someone that leads with more time, because I think it was a bad idea to have me leading this with very little time. We kind of, I think we kind of made it, but I think we need someone that makes us move much faster if I'm gonna be busy next semester. I don't know who that would be, but that's something that it's critical to the project. Is there something else that you this just in terms of the way we work? And then I want to also address what we should work on next semester, next trimester, next quarter. Sorry. Is something else that you want to raise about?
To be honest, no. I mean, that sounds like it to me. Write the spec, get it out, talk about it. Talk about the spec. I mean, have it in a conference. I don't know when it's planned. Website should be launched.
Yeah.
Demos, working demos. That's it.
Okay. In terms of, so I want to make sure that we have some stuff to raise at the in whatever lab week is going to be, and for next time, next quarter, there are some particular things I wanted to look into, and I think many people are talking about this IPLD selector, and they are raising very good questions, and especially the guy from Ethereum. He's called Kuma.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think that amongst the priorities of the next quarter should absolutely be the IPLD selector, and what that entails is not just the IPLD selector, but it's a sort of basis for transformations. Because we've been talking for a long while, but we always put that on the side because we wanted to ship IPLD first. But I think it's now time to try to achieve something, especially the IPLD selector. Having the IPLD selector could really make a lot of things better, especially for the Ethereum people, as I'm saying. I really want to have David in these meetings, and not just David, but possibly sometime Juan being present, because especially for the website, I remember last week Victor was a bit scared that Juan would have said to take a different direction, and he wanted to plan a meeting, and we didn't have a meeting, and we kind of lost 1 week in between.
Yep.
Okay, this was for me just a check-in. Victor is not around, so I don't know what we should. I wanted to check with him how he felt about the work that he has done, and if he feels that we're there or not.
I don't know. I think he's waiting for Juan's feedback based on things. I think we're waiting for you to have more time. I'm just here as a copy editor. Mainly.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. And also, you help all of us thinking. I think that's very important. I would not have had this meeting by myself. So, what did Johnny mention so that we can think about it? So
I posted an issue, basically asking for use cases and demos, which we need to have for the website. Johnny Crunch actually posted pretty awesomely about exploring JSON-LD for self-sovereign digital identity solutions. So he's been talking to the Ethereum people about that. I think he also mentioned Kuma. It would have been great to have him on this call for you there, because he said a lot of stuff to me, but it wasn't recorded. And I can't remember it perfectly in sync because I'm not him.
Okay, so
he basically has a demo available. I want him to write. Oh, there he is. Hey, Johnny.
Hey, Johnny, we were talking about you.
Good timing. I don't know how you did that. Can you describe to Nicola what your demo could be or is?
Is this for me, Johnny?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think, so sorry, I'm at my folks' house, and I think it's, both my kids are streaming Netflix at the same time, so it took me a while to get back on. So I think it's, so within identity management, I think there's a need for, right now with JSON-LD, you actually have to have the context. The context needs to be a persistent URL. It's a perfect application for IPFS or IPLD to actually to link the data for a permanent source of the context. So if you want, I can actually I have to tunnel back into my other machine at home. Give me a second, and I can sort of show you an example. So
Go for it.
all right, let's see if this will work. There we go. So
Is that the Jolly Roger?
let's see. Okay, so you guys can see this?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is a typical consensus UPort token using Java Web Tokens with signed tokens. And so this is both, I think, two tokens. One is a public key, and the other one is actually a claim. So here, the payload is a claim with the name of Johnny Crunch. And so I think the idea is that rather than using just loose attributes, is that really sort of provide a context of, all right, where to provide semantic interoperability, so that attribute could be linked to other attributes. So in this case, this is pulling from the schema.org for a name, and I think I can probably show you that. So let's see if I can get to it. Yeah, here we go. So same thing.
We're only seeing the single. Oh no, got it.
So yeah, so here's the context, which is JSON, and it provides, in this case, identity attributes and linking it to the schema, the person schema. And if you scroll down, there's the name, so schema.name. So, but it also could be matching to first name or given name. And so the challenge would be, and let's see if I have. Yeah, so here's that same thing, but within the claim, it really would be to and JSON-LD would be to provide context, and that would be the IPFS hash. I think actually I even have it. There we do. And so, so I think that's the first opportunity is actually providing the context, linking to the schema. And then the next thing would actually be to provide an address. And so I think with IPLD, you guys are working on linking to a particular blockchain that's stored on IPFS. And so I think the other nice thing would be to actually have in this case, a UPort ID, which is really an account on Ethereum, really sort of points to an account on any particular blockchain that is actually stored in IPFS.
So my question is, what of this cannot be already done? I think what you're describing, I think I'm not sure if you can put in JSON-LD a context inside a sub object, but let's say that you can. Then you can already do the add context in the way you did it, right? and instead of using the UPort hash, you should use an IP multi-hash, and that would probably make what you want. Or doesn't does this help?
Yeah, so I think right now the multi-hash for an account. Do you guys actually have that for multiple blockchains?
So
Do you just have it as a table? How do you resolve that?
So now I don't know exactly why UPort ID, but I guess it's the hash of something.
Yeah, this is an Ethereum account. In this case, it's actually on the test net.
Okay, I think there is some work going on. I'm sure there is some work going on with this. Okay, in IPLD we have this concept which we haven't fully explained on the website yet. But this concept of CID is the content identifier, and in this content hash word, content addressable word, we want CID to be able to content address anything. So, for example, there is a way in IPLD to. So a CID is basically a hash prefixed by what type of hash is this. So a CID, there are some CIDs for Ethereum blocks, and I'm pretty sure that you can reuse some of that work to say this hash, the hash that you're pointing to, you can prefix it with a the type of the hash that of that is, and then you instead of writing the hash in that particular way, use multi-hash. So we know if the hash is base 64, we know if the hash is what is the hash function and things of this kind. So I think by replacing all these hashes with CIDs would CIDs that we support, then that would make everything working with IPFS. So your concern now is first, I want to put context in my objects. I think that you can do it today. Your second concern is I want to make sure that all the hashes that I'm using still work in IPFS, and you can make them work by turning them into CIDs.
Okay, I suppose the one challenge is the CIDs is for the table lookup for which blockchain you might be on. So how, in the CIDs, how do you resolve this would be an address on the testnet for Ethereum versus the full Ethereum
Okay.
node?
Okay. So
or PNet, for instance, actually, so a private network.
So is the UPath ID the hash of a block or of a public key?
An address, an account on Ethereum.
But how do you create an account? By generating some keys or by adding something to the blockchain?
So you generate some keys.
Okay, then this account is valid for across between testnet and not testnet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then in this particular way, in this particular case, it doesn't matter what blockchain that is. As if you prefix it with the Ethereum account resolver, then whenever you ask for the hash to other people, and you can get the hash somehow, either from listening to Ethereum or listening to a DHT like on IPFS, then you get that particular. Your CID is going to specify what type of what this hash is pointing to. So you can say this hash points to an Ethereum account, and whenever you resolve the hash, you read the content as if it was an Ethereum account. And if it is an Ethereum account, you're going to be able to parse it and do. You're going to parse it as an IPLD object, which is a good thing.
I suppose. Do you think you can show me an example of how you actually would do that for CID with either Ethereum or let's say a Zcash? So this is how do you differentiate within CID an Ethereum versus Zcash?
What I'm talking about is actually work in progress. So I have there is definitely, I can point you to some work that it's happening, but it's really like happening right now. So give me 1 second. I need to find. It's also not well documented, which sucks. Give me 1 second.
I think as an aside, actually, one other thing actually we're talking about right now within the JSON LD is nested signatures. And I think with the consensus, the UPort protocol is nice because actually these are just tokens, and actually each token is signed. And attesting to the claim is adding a new token, and mostly it's actually using the subject and the issuer as the association type. And actually, it's in the contract itself that actually that links the pointers.
Okay,
So,
for some, sorry, 1 second. For some reason, I cannot find. Okay, I cannot find the resolver for the accounts, but I'm pretty sure that there is one guy which is called Kumavis that is working on that. Is in particular for Ethereum. So this is strange. Give me just 1 more second.
Yeah,
Okay,
sure.
let's do this. I'm gonna Richard asked an issue, and what I'm gonna do, I'm going to post the links whenever I find them in that issue.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Yeah. Okie dokie. Did you had a second question, Johnny?
Yeah, so I think the other thing was actually one thing we're discussing within the verifiable claims task force is the nesting of signatures, and and I think because every time you wrap a signature with a JSON web token, I think it could get to be very, very large, and so I think it's just so I think that's one thing actually we're talking about is actually how to handle that. And I think within consensus, I believe is actually it's handled pretty well with tokenizing each of those. So each claim is with each issuer and subject is wrapped as a token, and each of those tokens is then signed and attached to, let's say, an Ethereum account or Ethereum smart contract. And so within the JSON LD world, that's a little bit harder because you don't have the association. So I think that's why I like the UPort solution to this. I actually met with them last week up in New York City, and I think they're what I challenged them with is actually how do you make this scalable and generalizable, so that actually it's more of a standard for identity on the blockchain.
Okay, I'm not sure exactly what you by aggregating or and so what you would like to replace what would you like to replace with the token? I misunderstood that.
I think, well, in the JSON LD world right now, it's actually you wrap tokens, and so each almost like a PGP key. I guess you actually like attest to the validity of the PHP key.
Yeah.
And so I think what's nice about the UPort protocol is they tokenize it with the attributes of the issuer and the subject. And the subject is actually an identity on a blockchain. And if you actually can resolve
okay.
beyond, let's say one person is on a Zcash and actually wants to attest, even though Zcash doesn't use smart contracts, you want to attest to someone's claim, and that is actually on a different blockchain. So you actually be able to resolve which blockchain is actually on. And I think certainly a multi-address or a multi-hash is actually, I think, the way to go. And so I think if you can send me the link, actually, I can understand how to do that. And so my point is that I think it needs to be scalable and generalizable across different blockchains.
Yes. I think the links that I'm gonna post are gonna help, because the idea is that we want with IPLD and CAD, we want to be able to point to any hash. So as soon as you can point and resolve any hash, then it doesn't matter if this is on a blockchain or on another blockchain or things of this kind. So the aim is that we want to have this huge Merkle forest, and that speaks all the same language and can address to each other in the same language. And then, of course, you can build something Like,
yeah, and
what do you
is
think?
it similar to, so is the CID similar to the multi-address or the multi-hash, where actually there's a
Yeah, the
byte
strategy
or
is
two? And so I think the challenge is that, I suppose, like, so how many different types can you actually in a byte? And so if you actually, it's the first byte of the hash.
Yeah.
So eventually, will you run out of space in that first byte to actually to store? Let's say that right now there are 100 blockchains. So is there?
So this is a good question, because we had a lot of arguing about this in the past. So right now, if you put 1 byte, which is 8 bits, is gonna be able to only support 256 different types.
Right.
So, and I think someone mentioned to use 2 bytes, because using 2 bytes would give us twice the amount. I don't know what is the I don't know what is the not twice the amount, sorry, much more. Um, anyway, I'm tied to the questions now, but it's gonna be. I think you're right. Your concern is the same concern that many people have, and also to give an example, how can new blockchains be added as because all these protocols are self-describing. So you have you prepend a byte that says what type that thing is, and
Mhm.
who. Right now, IPFS has like a mapping from byte to byte, from byte to program, and right now, whoever comes to us and says, "Hey, I would like to reserve this byte. Can we reserve it because we have this blockchain and so on?" Then we give it on. With I think we're trying this strategy and see if it's gonna work well. I think at some point we will have to say no to some chains, but then they will be totally fine, because they can create this sort of say that you have like a sort of a private chain or private system that needs um, a particular type, which
Right.
IPFS doesn't listen. Then that's totally fine, because all these protocols are meant to also work locally when you have your own table. But whenever we want this global table, then this becomes tricky. I don't think it's solved. This is not a solved question.
Right. Yeah, and that's what sort of concerns me, especially if we're going to use like a PNet. So actually, how do you resolve and keep the local table of a private network to resolve across the a private network? Yeah, and so I think one solution I know in JWT is actually separated with a dot, and so and I think actually this reminds me of the early days. You guys are younger than I am, but I remember the early days of the internet of the 1990s of like really very much the land grab of DNS, of the necessity of of resolving addresses. And I think this is sort of where we're at with blockchain right now, is actually that necessity to resolve. And there's a lot of different camps that are actually coming up to be that. And so I think that may be an important problem to solve with IPLD, because if we solve that, then that's the de facto standard.
Yeah, I think the type of solution that we. By the way, I just did the calculation while you were talking, and I think just adding 1 more byte would give us 65,000 possibilities. So I of course we will add 1 more byte in the system of everyone, which is a bit annoying, but this gives us the possibility to give the first um, the first set of bytes only for IPFS approved things, and then the other set of the other byte or the combination of both for more complex. So I don't think we're gonna run out of types. The
Right.
problem is, how do we add new types whenever someone has a new blockchain that they would like
Yeah.
to add?
Now, is it possible? I know the multi-hash is the first byte. Is there a possibility to actually reverse it and actually have it as the tail and actually separate with a separation, even like an at symbol? I don't know if I.
Oh yeah, but there are some strong reasons why we want to
Okay.
prepend everything, because so
Okay.
that you know ahead of time before reading the input. And for some, if you Google, I can try and I had the same question a long time ago, and Juan replied to me saying that we should prepend, and I was really convinced by that, but those reasons.
Right, and I think I saw conversations back then about a year ago about the file type, and so like actually I understand now the rationale for doing /IPFS and then the hash, but in order for it to be a properly encoded URI, it would be like a file :// or a UX : //. And so I think now realizing that sort of IPFS really is a file system, and so I think really that it's and I think the challenge would be for the I didn't mention this, but actually within the context is for the JSON LD parsers to actually to recognize that it's an IPFS hash, and then actually to recognize those characters in the string, then to resolve the location of the context.
Yeah.
So I think, but again, these are early days, and I think we sort of have to figure these out.
Yeah. Anyway, it was.
All right, so I thought I'd take up so much time on that.
No. This is for everyone to join, and for everyone to raise questions. And this time was a very quick update that I think me and Richard quickly had. Okie dokie. I think this is the end, and it was a good quarter, and I would like to thank you, everyone. And I'm flying now, so have a good holidays, everyone.
Bon voyage. Thanks,
Okay.
Sean.
This is the end.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye bye.